Hi there, and welcome to Tech Wednesdays. Today we are going to talk about location services. You may have heard that term, or maybe you've heard that term in relation to your own privacy, or maybe you see a message pop up on your phone asking you about location services. So, the definition of location services is basically the infrastructure that enables your mobile phone, your tablet, or even a laptop to identify the current physical location in the world. And it uses a bunch of different pieces of infrastructure to do that. And that includes GPS, it includes your cell network, it also includes Wi-Fi hotspots. And all are used basically to pinpoint the exact longitude and latitude that you're located in at any given time. Some people are concerned about how location services are used by different companies, and they may be concerned about who knows where they are and how they're being tracked. So I wanted to just take a couple of minutes to show you how you can control which apps know your location and when. Today I'm working on an Apple iPad, but you have many of the same options if you are using an Android. So to get started, what we're going to do is open the Settings app on my iPad. And again, settings on an Android device or an iPhone, they're going to be a little bit different, but they're very similar. So I'm clicking on the gray Settings app, and what I'm going to look for on the iPad is privacy. Here's the privacy category. Right at the top there, you see location services says that it's on. So let's take a closer look. If I click on location, it's going to give me some different options. So first of all, you can see here kind of towards the bottom which apps are using my location and when. So I don't have a whole lot of things that are installed on this device, but the ones that I do, these 5 are ones that are asking to use my location. So let's think about it for a minute. Camera. So if you're taking a picture, if you've ever uploaded pictures or used them in iCloud, you may notice that the camera will know your location, be able to group similar photos together. And if you have location services turned on, whenever you take a picture, your exact longitude and latitude is being recorded, and that geographic information is kind of embedded in those pictures unless it's removed. So Siri would need to know your location, because if you ask Siri, for example, give me a list of local restaurants, they're not going to know what is local unless it knows your location. So maybe you live in Pittsburgh, but when you ask the question, you are actually in Sewickley. If it knows that location, it's going to find the closest restaurants to you based on your geographic location. Any of these different apps you can change. So first of all, at the very top here, you can turn off location services altogether. If you kind of want to just go off the map and make sure that no apps are tracking you, you can hit this green button to turn location services off or on, but you still have more granular control down here for each of the different apps. So you see that some of them say while using or never, or the other option on some of them is going to be always. Generally, while using, I would say, is probably the best option, depending again on what your preferences are and how much information you want to be sharing with these companies. But so for example, if I click on App Store, you see that it gives me the 3 different options here. Never, ask next time, which means that every time you open that app, it's going to ask permission if it has permission to use the location services, or while using. If I go to weather, for example, it has 4 different options. Some people might want their location to always be up to date, and you can set that to always if you prefer for your weather services. Okay, I'm going to close settings and I'm just going to look at a couple of apps here. So I just recently installed the Maps app, and when I open it for the first time, you're going to get a prompt. Basically, are you going to allow Maps to track your location? And if you're using Maps for GPS, you're going to want that option definitely to be on, at least while using the app. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use your device as a GPS. So I'm just going to choose allow while using app. And you can easily see that how the app is using my location because it's pinpointed me on the map to the library. You see the little blue dot there right at the corner of Broad and Thorn Street. That's where I'm located now. You'll also notice here at the very top of the screen next to the battery level the kind of the compass arrow, and that's indicating that there's an app using my location currently, which is Maps. So you see there at the top the black arrow. That's just one example of how location is used. I'll also open my photos and I'll show you what I was talking about as far as the geographic information that's built into a picture. So here's a picture that I took in my office just a little bit ago. You can see at the top that it's already identified the location as Sewickley, but if I go back and I go into my albums, there's actually an album called People and Places, and it will identify places that I've been. So for example, if I went on vacation to Florida, you would see a little bubble pop up down there and be able to easily locate all the pictures I took in Florida. But if I zoom in here, I can see that one picture on my iPad has been identified, and the latitude and longitude is right here in my office in the Sewickley Library. Here's one other example of one, you may opt to or you may opt not to share location with. So I just downloaded the Rite Aid app as an example of a commercial app that would probably want to use my location. And you can see right there when I open the app for the first time, it's asking if the app can use my location. And it also gives me the reason why they would want to use my location. And that's because they want to locate nearby stores. So this might be something important to you, or it might not be. So a lot of times with these commercial apps for businesses and things like that, people will opt to not allow the location because they don't think that's necessary. But it's completely up to you in how much information you want to share. Okay, so now I'm using an Android device, and I'll just show you quickly in the menus here how you can look at location. So I'm in a subcategory in my settings called Biometrics and Security, and you can see, similar to the iPad, I can turn location on or off using this button here. It's blue. I can also look here under App Permissions, and it's going to give me the whole list of different apps that are allowed to use my location. Take a second to load. Okay, and you can see that I can turn on or off any of these apps to allow my location to be shared. The one thing you notice about Android that's different than the iPad is that it does not give me as much granular control over it. It's just kind of an on-off button as opposed to 3 or 4 different options. So that's just a quick look at using location service settings on an Android device.